In this video, I'm going to show you how to use columns in a word processing document. Now your page is already in one column, and if we look in our format menu, we can see our settings for our columns here, and you can see we are already set to one column. To change to 2 columns or 3 columns, it's dead easy. Just click on how many columns you want. There's 2. And there isn't enough text for 2 columns, but that's fine. As you fill the first column and you carry on writing, then it automatically moves into the second column, like so. And if I add some more, we've got plenty of text filling up our columns, like so. If we want 3 columns, just as easy, format, columns, and 3 columns. There we are. Now you'll notice there's a little margin in between these. Now that's our little gap there. And we can control the size of that. We can control it manually by just clicking in and changing it. And you can see it's telling you the width, so that's 12 millimeters. And that's given us a narrower column gap. And you'll notice that what you did to this one also applies to this one. An alternative way of doing this is to go to Format, Columns, and go to More Options. And you can choose the space between our columns there. So if I want it exactly 1 centimetre, I can do that 1 centimetre. And click Apply. And so we've now got an exact 1 centimetre gap in between each of our columns. Now there's more we can do with our columns. Let's go again to Format, Columns, and More Options. I'm going to change it to 2 columns here. And I'm going to apply a line between our columns. And if I click Apply, we now get this very thin line to separate those columns and make it easier to read. What else can we do? Well, say we don't want all the text that's in a particular column to be in that one column. Perhaps we want some of the text in here and the rest of the text in this column. Well, what can we do? Well, we can apply a column break. So I'm just going to, after that paragraph, I'm just going to go to Insert, Break, and Column Break. And now after that, everything that followed on has moved on to this next column. And I'm just going to delete that just to tidy it up. And you can see that column's ended and the next one has begun. Now that can be used for some nice design effects. If I go to columns and change it to 3 columns, and I'm going to actually get rid of the line as well. I don't think I want that. And I apply. You can see, if I just zoom out, let's go to 50%. It's almost like I've got a title for an article in a magazine. And maybe actually I want those gaps a little bit smaller, just to make a little bit more room for the text. So column, More Options, and let's drop that down to 0.75, 3/4 of a centimetre. Apply. And so I've got something looking nice and neat like that. I guess a bit like you might find in a magazine. Now, sometimes you don't want columns for your whole page. So let's just set everything back to 1 column. And let's get rid of that column break. All I have to do is just press delete and it will delete that column break that was in there. So maybe I want the first, say, 3 paragraphs here to be just on 1 column. That's fine. I'm now going to insert a different type of break called a section break. Now, a section break can force you onto the next page, but I'm going to do section break continuous. And then on this paragraph, I'm going to format it to 3 columns. So I start off with 1 column and then I move into my 3 columns. And if I want to stop at a certain point, then I can do a section break in there as well. So perhaps just before that, let's insert a break and do section break, and let's set that to format and columns, 1 column again. So you can see I've got my 1 column, 3 columns, and then it switches to 1 column again for the rest of the document. So that's some of the fun that you can have when using columns in your documents. in Google Docs.